What's up, y'all? This is Cliff, Black Voters Matter 365. Welcome to another episode of Unnamed and Unbound, the Black Voters Matter podcast, where we talk about politics and policies in a way where it's easily understood. We got to break it down, as my mentor used to say. Sometimes you got to put it down where the goats can get it. And so today, we're going to be talking about a very hot topic. We're going to be talking about redistricting and gerrymandering. Two big words. Some of y'all out there may not even know what that's all about. Don't worry though, we got you covered, right? And to help cover this topic, I've got two amazing guests with me right here in studio. None other, y'all know them. Y'all see them all over the place online, YouTube and IG. Conscious Lee, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here. Looking forward to having some stimulating conversation.
Man, I'm looking forward to it. And also, we got my old friend, and old not because he's old, but just in terms of how long we've known each other, Reverend Mark Thompson, who is here to share his wisdom and knowledge. Mark, what's going on?
Thank you for cleaning that up about old. Your longtime friend. Good to be with you.
Okay.
It's good to see Conscious as well.
Cheers, well, Reverend Mark.
So we're gonna get into it, right? What is redistricting, right? What is redistricting all about? Basically, redistricting is a process where every 10 years, supposedly, there's a census done, there's counts done, the whole country, every state, based on those numbers of how many people live in each state. They basically decide who gets, what number of representatives and all that. But the other thing that they do is that they draw lines. They draw all kinds of lines on which our voting is based. Congressional lines for when we vote for people to go to Congress. But not just that, they also draw state lines for state legislature, city council lines, county commission lines, Board of Education, right? Basically, they create maps that to say, okay, all y'all that live in this district, this area, you get to vote for this particular seat, and you get to choose from this number or whatever candidates are running from that district, right? So that's the basics of redistricting. But what we're seeing happening now, and that's supposed to happen every 10 years. And once you set those maps last for 10 years. But what we are seeing now is that y'all's president, Mango Mussolini, just like he called into Georgia talking about find me 11,700 votes that he knew he ain't have, this year he calls down to Texas saying find me 5 congressional seats that he know he ain't got. Because what's happening, he's getting crushed. He's dropping in popularity, his favorabilities, all his crazy policies are gone wrong for him. And so he's trying to cheat the same way he cheated in the election. Now he's trying to cheat in terms of these congressional lines and asking them to find 5 seats to redo their maps, which remember, I said you do every 10 years. So this is what we call mid-decade redistricting. It's cheating. It's halfway through the 10 years saying, I don't like the way this is going, so I'm gonna try to get me some new. Am I lying, Conscious? Tell me, what am I missing here?
Nah, you ain't missing nothing at all. I think that you said Mango Mussolini.
Mango Mussolini.
I like that. Mango Mussolini. Adolf Orange Man.
That's right.
The reason why he called down to Texas is because Texas has been masterful in being able to manipulate the maps and always making sure Black people political representation is always stripped away from us. I think that's the reason why he called down to Texas uniquely. And I think that what he did to Texas, I think kind of uncovers the legacy of gerrymandering in Texas that goes back all the way to the beginning of Texas history.
That's right. Mark, tell me something, or talk on this, right? Because, I talked about he's trying to find these extra seats, but he's not just trying to find any old seats, right? He's trying to find and trying to get rid of Black folk, right? They particularly went after Black districts in Texas, Black representatives, right? And then in the other states where we've seen this happen, North Carolina did it. Whose seat did they gerrymander? The one seat, the brother in Eastern North Carolina. In Missouri, what seat did they go after? Kansas City, which is also traditionally a Black seat serving Black folks. So they're not just gerrymandering on a partisan nature. They are specifically gerrymandering off of anti-Blackness. Talk to that if you can.
Well, first of all, again, glad to be with you. First of all, 9 years ago, the Supreme Court opened this door. And full disclosure, I'm now on the board of Common Cause for a year. Cliff just joined our board. In the Common Cause case against this type of partisan gerrymandering in North Carolina, the Supreme Court said you can do partisan. And it opened the door for the Republicans to say, well, we're doing this to help our cause or to stop the dilution of Republican voters. But to your point, Cliff, it's really to stop the black electorate and to stop black electeds themselves from being elected, cloaked in so-called partisanship. And partisanship for the Republicans is the same as practicing racism. So yes, this is the target. It goes hand in hand with the Section 2 case now before the court, which could be ruled on as early as the beginning of the year. And that would be the final nail in the coffin of the VRA. And what was the VRA? That existed to guarantee that African Americans, and after that, ADA and any number of other people would have access to the ballot box throughout. And it would protect all of us so that when these types of things happen, the Justice Department could bring prosecution. So we're going back to the time after Reconstruction, where we had the right to vote. People need to understand something. The first Congressional Black Caucus was in the 1800s.
Say that. Teach. Yeah.
There were thousands, literally thousands, of black elected officials elected throughout the South after the Civil War and the beginning of Reconstruction, from state houses to Congress. There were formerly enslaved people serving in Congress in the first Congressional Black Caucus. That had to be stopped. And so let's fast forward to 2008. You got the first black president. So the same reaction. This is an assault. They're going to make sure that this does not stand. They're going to make sure that our power continues to be diluted. And this is the white lash to it. So we've got quite a fight on our hands. And that's why I think the work of Black Voters Matter is so critical and so urgent at this time. All the work that Black Voters Matter does year round. You know, when the phrase Black Lives Matter became popular and Black Voters Matter were popular, y'all, it's really, we know what it meant back in those days in 2020, 2018. But let me tell y'all something. It has a whole new meaning now. Black Voters Matter has a more urgent meaning and tone to it because shortly, if the Voting Rights Act is struck down, if this mid-decade, supposed to be every 10 years, this mid-decade partisan gerrymandering continues, we're going to be set back to the 1860s. And last thing I'll say is this. When we look at the partisanship, people always wanted nonpartisan gerrymandering. That was the ideal. That's what the VRA, the Voting Rights Act, called for. Organizations like Common Cause, politicians like Barack Obama, attorneys like Eric Holder were all for that. It is a profound statement that Common Cause, Barack Obama, Eric Holder agreed with what California is doing and what the voters just passed on election day. Right. That we've got to counter their partisan gerrymandering with other partisan redistricting ourselves to be sure that there's a balance in Congress.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point. I'm glad you brought that up. And Conscious, tell me what you think about this, because Mark brought up the Prop 50, right? Which, like you said, is California saying, "Oh, okay, Texas, you gonna cheat and get five extra seats? We're gonna redo our maps and get five extra seats, right?" I'm all for that, but you got some folks that are like, wait a minute. Oh, that's not right. Like, we say we believe in no gerrymandering, so we ought to just have no gerrymandering. Like, oh, if Texas is going to do it, then, we can't stoop to their level, right? What you think about all that?
I think that is a very ahistorical take on it. And I feel like they should free themselves from the shackles of purity of the frameworkers. When you look at the history of gerrymandering, it's literally cooked into our democracy history. When you go back to even where the term come from and how that election was like, 1789, 1780, whatever it is. So you see that even to Reverend Mark's point, in Texas, they were upfront and said that they want gerrymandering to sustain Anglo-Texan power. So to me, if you're trying to uphold respectability politics or these very utopian ideas the framers had about civility, I think we're going to be in last place. Or you're going to voluntarily take the short end of the stick thinking that you can uphold some notion of I didn't even say ethics and morals, because you're really being unethical. Right. You're being unethical to engage politics just so you can say you're righteous and engage in politics. To me, it's like we're not living in the 2004 Howard Dean days. Woo! And that was seen as unconstitutional. That was seen as unpolitical, illegitimate. Now we ain't playing them games.
Right.
You can. There's no way to play a game and your opponent is cheating and they're bragging about cheating.
Right.
At that point, excuse my French rep, you a damn fool. If you believe it's a race to the bottom, well, if we do, you a damn fool. And I think that the Republicans are going to use you being a damn fool to your expense and make it where politically, socially, economically, black folks will continue to be at the bottom of the hierarchy, all in the name of gerrymandering bad, though.
Right.
Man,
That's right. You feel good about yourself because you done, you maintain this principle that you say that you fighting for.
Yeah, but Granny Medicaid, Medicare gone. Your access to higher education is gone. The reason why is just that, to me, civics and George Bush, every child should be left behind. That my generation really got impacted in ways where I feel like a lot of us got left behind and we thought it was cool. The second thing I would say is when it comes to just education around civics, I think a lot of us have become alienated and we've become distant in a way where we feel like, politics don't mean nothing, I don't do politics. Right. So politics doing this in a way where you're able to call down to Texas, say, I need 5 congressional seats. The seats come uniquely from black and brown districts.
Right.
So it's very important. In Texas, white folks is outnumbered. In Texas, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Austin, these is the hubs of Texas. I mean, in fact, 80% of our population is seen East Texas.
That's right.
This is what the black and brown folks said.
And I should add into that, I was just in Houston just the other day, and they reminded us the largest block of black voters in the country
is in here,
is in Texas.
In Harris County. So the thing that pissed me off about how a lot of people that's not down south view us Southerners is that y'all will erase black representation down here and you will only see us as the electoral college. So meanwhile, white folks is literally manipulating how we show up politically, manipulating our presence and our representation politically. Y'all will concede that power and concede this illusion made by white folks and be like, well, the black folks down in Georgia, they don't matter, it's red.
Right.
Have them, the black folks in Texas, it don't matter, it's red. And it's like you will literally feed us to the wolves in order to play the game. Right. And that's when it's like, hold on now, established Democrats. How come y'all ain't figuring out a way how these Democrats in these red states is figuring out a way how to win an election?
Right.
How come you keep on taking the national model of how to win an election for Democrats and you can't, and it's a spot that ain't got like Democrat, it's a spot that's not black and brown, dominated. Yeah, of course, white so-and-so from California, man, go holler at the boys in Birmingham and figure out how they getting so many black folks to go to the polls in Birmingham and throughout these little counties in Alabama and how they, going there. Right. It's just, to me, that seems like a more viable strategy to build power and to fight power and get into the uniqueness of black votes.
100%, 100%. And you said something that I really want to do a deeper dive in. And Mark, I want to hear what you think about this because a minute ago you were talking about, you feel good, but, SNAP cut. Medicaid cut, right? All these things, like make the connection between, and this is, all of us have to do this, right? We got to make the connection between redistricting, because like I said at the start, it's not a sexy word. It's not a sexy topic, right? But getting folks to understand that this redistricting affects every issue that we care about. Okay. Right. No matter what your issue is, you ain't got to be passionate about redistricting because of redistricting. But whatever it is that you are passionate about, healthcare, housing, education, all of that, whatever it is, it's impacted by this redistricting. Mark, what can you say on that?
Well, no, you're absolutely right. And maybe in our approach as movement folk, we need to rebrand it. Maybe redistricting is not the sexist or the most engaging term. Maybe erasure is a more encouraging term or a more urgent term. But I'm hopeful, and I heard everything that Conscious said about people ignoring those of us inside. But watch this. What we saw Election Day 2025 was something different. There was a level of conscientiousness we've not seen before. There has never been a national story or a national celebration around folk being elected in so many local spaces. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. Between 2008 and before the election in 2016, the 2 Obama elections, people didn't want to vote down ballot, including us, including our people. We only wanted to vote top of the ticket. We voted for Obama, and we forgot about voting down ballot. We forgot that voting down ballot affects what happens when it comes to SNAP, what happens when it comes to the Affordable Care Act, police accountability does not happen at the top of the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
School board and book banning being stopped doesn't happen at the top of the ticket.
Mm-hmm. I'd say even reparations.
Well, all of that, yeah, we're seeing
All
that
of
too
it.
locally.
Right?
But also when it comes to redistricting, that does not happen at the top. That happens in the state legislatures.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have election day 2025, people are experiencing euphoria because of what we won on the Georgia Public Service Commission.
That's right. That's right.
That was a powerful lesson because I think people finally got it. These things affect your back pocket immediately, and these lower ballot races are important. So I think that's encouraging to discourage people from ignoring what's going on in many of these states. And the reason some of these states, I mean, I think we affected the supermajority even in Mississippi.
That's right.
Where
That's
says
right.
we can't ever do nothing. We can't ever do nothing in Mississippi.
That's
We can.
Mhm.
We can do things in Texas. Many people say if you look at the hard numbers, Texas is more purple than red. But
Yes.
that is what, folks, they're suppressing it.
Yeah.
They're doing erasure because of the power of our vote. Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. I don't think she believes that anymore. They're going low right now. We've got to get down there in the mud and fight this battle. And consciously says something, but I want to paraphrase someone once said, somebody great once said this. If you don't do politics, politics does you. Now, again, what's encouraging is that more people are doing politics.
That's right.
Think about this. In the past, when we've had good elections, had victories for our people and for everybody, when a handful of Democrats would undermine and sell us out, most people didn't even realize it. It was not top of mind. There has been unanimity against those sellouts in the shutdown, those 8 Democrats, some of whom aren't even running for re-election. They want to take away the victory from Election Day and cut some deal and leave no leverage when it comes to health care or anything else. Many people who average folks who don't even talk politics, we sleep, eat, drink this stuff.
Right.
But folks who don't even do that were like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. That is in bullying for me and encouraging because it lets me know, and it'll let us all of us know that people understand more what's going on. And so while in the past redistricting may not have been the most interesting term, maybe we need another one. But I think people are aware now, especially when the face of redistricting is Donald Trump and all of his minions.
Right. No, 100%. Mark mentioned the Mississippi elections, right? And shout out to Mississippi, shout out to Georgia. Let me say this about Georgia real quick, right? Because we sitting here in Georgia right now. And for those folks who don't know, we had these 2 elections, Public Service Commission, 2 districts, right? Right. But even though there are 2 districts, they are voted on statewide. So when the sister won, 2 Democrats won, one's a sister, one's a white brother. And, so that means this sister basically, even though she's representing a district, she basically just won a statewide election in Georgia. That is not a small thing, right? Now, I'll say this, even though they won, the very fact that those districts exist in that way is a violation. Because part of the reason we've never had a black person on that commission is because they are voted on statewide. If it's a district, then let it be voted on by a district. The rules say that the candidate has to live in that district. So why the candidate got to live there, but then everybody in the whole state gets to vote for it? And so again, it's another way, using your word, Mark, erasure. It's another way that they erase our votes, that they draw lines around, or they set up rules to keep us from being able to have the representation that we deserve. But but this what you think about that?
I think just to make sure we connecting the local government to the federal government.
Yeah.
The reason why Donald Trump called down to Texas to impact the local government is because when it comes to passing policy, when it comes to passing legislation, Donald Trump understands that he needs House representatives.
That's right.
He needs that this particular check and balance to always be able to make it where it can't check and balance him. So when he calls down to Texas, he's trying to gauge federal power at the expense of black people locally in Texas.
He trying to not
that's
get
very important.
He trying to not get impeached again. That's what he's
Feel
trying.
me? And now he's not trying to get impeached
Right.
again. This is how he's trying to sustain his power federally by robbing black people power locally. And that's the important thing that I think that we usually forget about. A lot of us get caught up in politics and we start rooting for it like sports teams. You feel me? You team red, you team blue, and you only talking about the sports team for the Super Bowl.
Right.
You ain't thinking about it during the season, midterm election. You ain't thinking about the year round.
Right.
So this allows for us to not think about those midterm elections and think about these special elections that happened in November this past couple of weeks ago, how it impacts the overall thing. So now you have individuals that have parasocial relationships to politicians, and they believe that politicians should not be criticized. And we all talking about saving democracy.
Right.
I believe, and I think that I was taught that criticizing the politician, being able to protest and petition them is a tenet of democracy.
That's right.
Which takes me back to this Donald Trump thing. I would say Donald Trump is robbing us the process of checks and balances.
That's right.
So when you have individuals that say we should uphold these tenets of democracy and liberty, what does that mean in a world where the individual is intentionally making it where there is no authority in checks and balances? I.e., if I say this go, all these branches are gonna fall in line. There's no world where we get to play in the lines when they're going out of bounds. There's no way we get to, ref, you see this? They already paid the ref and they already whooping the ref.
Right.
You still crying to the ref.
Right.
Now we gotta play.
Right. You can't win that game. So speaking of playing the game and winning, what are the things that we need to do to be able to organize around this, right? We've talked about, like Mark said, even the messaging, erasure instead of just redistricting. Like, what are the things that we need to do from a messaging perspective? Like, y'all are two experts on messaging, right? Both of y'all got your shows and your online presence. Like, what is the things that we need to do to better communicate these issues to our folks? And then also to combine that with the organizing, the on-the-ground organizing that has to take place. Mark, what you think?
Well, first of all, there are two aspects of that: the active messaging, and then what the message is.
Right.
I don't want us to stick our head in the sand, and I don't want to understate the war against our people becomes the disinformation, and African Americans are targeted for disinformation more than any other group, particularly Black men. That's why you had apparently the illusion was that Black men just would not vote for a Black woman for president. That was by design.
Right.
So
it's important to point out that in this last election, in a couple of the states, and I might get it wrong, I know California is one of them, and you may have been going there. So if you was about to say this, then I'll just pass it back to you. But in a couple of these states, when you look at the preferences that in the exit polls, it shows that Black men actually voted for Prop 50 to a larger percent than even sisters did, right? Which is not what we're usually close to them, right? But to have more than, or to have more vote for, I can't remember if it was Jersey or if it was Virginia, to have more vote for the Democratic candidate, a higher percentage at least, than sisters did, is amazing. But that's not a story. Everybody wanted to come running with the mic to me and you and to Conscious saying, oh, what's up with Black men? What do Black men do? But now that you see these two or three states where we actually showed up and disproportionately voted for the more progressive candidate or the more progressive issue, ain't nobody got nothing to say about that.
Well, since you brought that up, we also know that a higher percentage of Black women voted for Maggie Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger and voted for Kamala Harris. So let's deal with that. Let me put that right there, what you're raising, why that's important. You know their game's being played.
That's right.
You don't go from a narrative of Black men being against a Black woman to overnight without really any intervening factors. Because the resources, the billions of dollars, you all go check out Onyx Impact, the billions of dollars spent on disinformation. Black voters matter don't have. Mark Thompson, Conscious Lee don't have. So we couldn't reverse that on our own.
That's right.
Which lets you know that from the jump, it was all orchestrated. All of a sudden, Black men just woke up one morning and said, no, we sophisticated now. We're going to vote for Prop 50 and vote for these white women governors. But before, so that y'all think about that, what that means, what the game that was really played. There are a lot of questions about November 24. But having said that, we've got to figure out a way to build our movement so that it has an arsenal to defend us from disinformation.
That's right.
One. Two, I think, and that's not easier because it's billions of dollars spent confusing us. That's one. Two, what ought the message be? And really, the message for us really has to be the message for everybody else, because this is true with the younger generation, even when they're not black. We won. There were big wins, election day 2025, and people who, let's just say progressive. Let's not even go by party. Let's say people who are close on that progressive spectrum.
Right.
When we lose, we get defeated and demoralized, which is what those Senate 8 were trying to do. When we win, here's the other extreme. This is personal. This is family.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going. When we win, though, we get so euphoric and so happy. We feel like we ain't got to do nothing no more. We did what we needed to do election day 2025. I ain't got to do nothing 2026. So we got to do something about the culture so that everybody knows, y'all, politics is 365 days a doggone year.
Yes.
Even when there's no election.
Yes, sir.
We have got to sing from that same sheet of music all times, all places, because they're not stopping. They're tireless. I'm gonna do you a solid, brother. Watch this. People focus on Roe. They had a 50-year plan to take Roe out.
Yeah.
What people don't remember, they had the same plan for the VRA. Where did John Roberts come from?
Reagan.
Came out of Reagan administration and
That's right.
said back 40 years ago, I want to do away with the VRA. But nobody talked about that.
That's right.
Because the fascination was Roe. And that, frankly, was the movement they put out front. But in the background, they're coming for our voting rights. That it was a sacred movement that got us the right to vote. And we're going to have to be wise enough to stay involved 24/7, 365 to preserve that movement.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add to that. Actually, I'm a preface it with saying that the reason why pop culture mainstream is called pop culture is because black culture is always integrated in a way, and they figure out what parts of black culture is more palatable for the mainstream. What I say is that during Black Lives Matter, during 2020, there was a lot of cultural programming, a lot of things that we made sexy and cool within our culture when it came to being politically invested to what was happening to black folks. To your point, Reverend, there was some wins that happened. And from those wins, a lot of people became disillusioned, or some of them moved with cruel optimism, even what I would call it. I feel like we got to figure out a way to make it culturally cool to think about and talk about redistricting or erasure, or think about and talk about the local ways that politics happen, and not just be caught up in the hoopla of voting for the Super Bowl or rooting for the Super Bowl team every 4 years. You know what I'm saying? The second thing I'll say is political consciousness in a way where we don't always already think about the black experience and black suffering through a bipartisan lens. Meaning that if we think about black suffering politically, socially, economically, it's not automatically pushed through a lens of Republicans bad, Democrats good. I think that a lot of times we forget that the overall narrative nationally comes from black folks throughout the spectrum. So a lot of times us black people down south will be talking past each other to people that's not down south in terms of black people, you know what I mean? So when it comes to thinking about Democrats and Republicans specifically and black people, of course we think about which one of these is more in line with black, you know what I'm saying, values, black politics, but also think about forefront, prioritizing black leadership, black community organizing, black politics outside of the frame of what mainstream is talking about. And I think that during Black Lives Matter, that was something that happened in culture that I feel like was very important that we don't think about. The narrative around Black Lives Matter was driven online by a lot of thought leaders that was black. A lot of the narrative around voting is driven by the establishment white Democrats that only come to black folks every 4 years, or the black people that us in this thing that's seen as being crazy. Because 365, we got to figure out a way to create a culture around it where it's sexy and it's cool. And it's being real. That's in this. We have to be able to acknowledge the problem. The problem is we are seeing it. A lot of us are alienated from our community. And sometimes our community will alienate us because of how we impact their comfort zone. It's not comfortable to talk about the way these white folks trying to steal power from black folks. It's not comfortable to think about the way in which your grandma get that insulin and how this vote gonna impact that. That's not comfortable. So you rather talk about Love Island. You rather talk about is Jordan or MJ better. You rather talk about the drama that's going on TikTok because it's more comfortable. And that's the reason why so many of y'all will buy in to white folks taking out black folks, because we mess up the comfort zone. It's a part of the culture. Culturally, Y'all want to be in psychosis. And right now, culturally, you feel me? We ain't even, so many people felt like the congressional redistricting ain't had nothing to do with them. The last thing I say for real, he called down to Texas for a reason.
Right.
He want to rob Texan black and brown people, specifically black folks, to make sure white people in the state of Texas and white people federally can sustain their power. The game is rigged, so we got to figure out a way. Just like in the hood, we figure out how to survive. They got the game rigged in the hood. We figure out how to survive and thrive with it. Politically, we seen before eyes in 4K. The game is rigged. Do we cry and whine about it, or do we come out fighting? The ancestors came out fighting. We got a blueprint for it. Let's come on out and fighting. The culture got to make it sexy and cool, though, and right now it's not.
Can I just say something real quick, Cliff? Because what Conscious is bringing up too.
Conscious giving all kinds of gems. Go on, Mark.
What social media also does, to your point, I'm gonna take that a step further, Conscious. It elevates, it chooses our spokespersons, not us. And it elevates the sports people. I'm gonna try to be cool, not mention no names right now.
Name them.
I will.
Go.
You a sucker, Stephen A. Smith. You know Stephen A. Smith, you ain't even
And
that
now all of a
good
sudden,
in
these
a sports
people
analysis.
are political pundits. And there are a couple other folk out here who this ain't their lane. Now, that'd be like, you know what, I'll give an example. The next time we do this, I'll tell you what you do, Cliff. Bring us back on next week so the three of us can do a show.
Can we come back and talk about Stephen A. Smith next week? That's
No.
what we can do.
I'm saying, I'm watch this though. Let's the three of us come on and
I'm
do
down for it now. I'm just saying.
But no, I got something better.
Okay, all right.
Just to prove a point about folks need to be in their lanes. Why don't the three of us next week do a show on heart surgery? We don't know nothing about that. If we did that, people like, why are Mark and Cliff and Conscious talking about heart surgery?
Right.
But so how is it that folk, whether they on Stephen A. Smith or some other show that everybody tries to run to be on early in the morning, I'm trying to be good.
Early in the morning.
Trying to be good. Folk run, and if folks have this political conversation, well, you know what the Senate Democrats did wasn't so bad, and they didn't. What are you talking about? You don't even know what you. So those people get elevated, and it's like because of celebrity. So that's the other problem. We need a vaccine against celebrity activism. Because that's really an oxymoron.
Celebrity activism.
What is that? What is that? You know, it's a shame. If Dr. King came back today, came back to life, what would everybody say? Man, get you an Instagram account.
You gotta find the trends, Dr. King.
Because what's sad about social media, it encourages self-centeredness and individualism. It doesn't serve, a collective or a movement, because it promotes an individual account. I want this many people on my account as an individual. A movement. And so that's what's hurting us. So you're right, Conscious, that the whole culture needs to shift and change. We got to call out the shadow banning. See, like all this clip what we talking about right now. Put it on Instagram and see how much traffic it gets. See, that, and then they shadow ban it. So we've got to get into the nitty gritty on all of that stuff and keep on pushing.
Yeah, man, this is like a versus, right? I just Conscious drops some gems, then Mark come back and he drops some gems. I just get to sit here and enjoy just going back and forth, back and forth.
You switch beats with this, huh?
Yeah,
Watching the verses.
That's it. But no, I mean, so much stuff that we got to dig into, including we need to come back to Stephen A. We coming for you, Stephen A. But did you hit it? I don't want to go off on Stephen A.
That's what I say about this is simplified. Huey P. Newton said that power is the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. Right now, the phenomenon that we kind of letting words escape us for, I think we're talking about political illiteracy. People lack the ability to read and write situations pertaining to politics, and it allows for them to spread, to make it cool. Illiteracy and making illiterate analysis around politics. Stephen A. Smith has been paid. Stephen A. Smith is not a good sports analyst in many ways. So his portable skills for giving analysis don't really cross over that well for politics. In conclusion, black people, just because you experience something don't make you an expert. It's because you experience something don't make you an expert. A lot of us experience racism, but we ain't an expert on talking about racism. All of us experience healthcare, but they don't make us experts on healthcare. A lot of us experience life, and when we see people around us, they are not experts at life. With that being said, how y'all switch up on social media this week? You an international expert. This week you a political scientist. This week you know about aerospace. This week now you a marine biologist talking about. You have to be able to do what he's. Acknowledge your lane. You be overcompensating. Don't do that.
I'm gonna make a shirt. The shirt's gonna say, just because you experienced something.
You're not an expert, man.
You're not an expert, right?
What?
That's my shirt.
What? You experience masculinity and you suck at talking about it. You're not an expert. And it's just, that's what we have right now. Anti-intellectualism and people being able to exchange and substitute their experience for expertise. Hey, y'all got all y'all minds fried and going in the slop.
Look, and the ability just to get on any platform and run your mouth, it is empowering. And so people just say whatever they want to say. And it's, so let me, on a personal note, let me just say this. It's shocking to me. And I think, money's being exchanged. I know Steve. I know RFK. I can call RFK right now on the phone.
Robert out of there too. Talk about it.
And so what I'm saying is, when this started happening, what's up? What is going on here? Well, and then folks started avoiding me. People weren't like this. Like something has happened in the past couple of years. RFK and them used to come to Selma every year, Cliff.
Yeah.
Everything was cool. I'm like, what is? So I called us, look, man, what's going on? I need you to come on and talk to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to understand what you're doing. That ain't our history. That ain't the history of what's going on here. And it was like, well, no, I can't do that. I said, well, who said that? Why you can't talk to me? What is, so is something else going on with these characters?
Is that before he got the worm in his brain?
I don't know, but see, I don't even know when the worm. But from what I understand, the worm was there a while ago. So the worm was probably come and gone.
Man, we know a drug addict when we see one. We know a person that is struggled with drug addiction when we see one. You kind of insult my intelligence. I got a family full of drug addicts. You feel me? But that's recovering, that's trying to, I know it when I see it. What I say is his daddy probably turned over in his grave every time this man make a political analysis, every time he make a stance politically. And what I do know too is that white people always love to have a little bit of understanding when it comes to how their people deal with drug addiction. Even so much, they can ascend to being in the federal government while still dealing with drug addiction.
That's why him and
shout out to Elon, who was high as a kite too one time.
And Trump, all three of them.
Yeah, man. This is also part of it too. Culturally, a lot of us in our community, we write off the brilliant people that's dealing with addiction. The white folks know how to dust off it up and make sure they, even when they ain't brilliant. So in our community, we should not engage in exposability and disposability when it comes to our brothers, sisters, grandpeople, aunties, uncles that's dealing with addiction, that's trying to figure out a way to survive, and they really got some portable skills. They really got some intelligence that can help us go somewhere, but you only view them through the eyes of white people as being a junkie or a crackhead. They love their junkies and crackheads. When we gonna start loving the eyes?
We don't love our junkies and crackheads.
So I started.
I'm being serious too.
No, but that's a word right there. That's his own. That's a sermon right there.
That's a sermon. No, that's a word right there.
We are expendable.
Right.
But again, I'm encouraged of what we've seen in election day. I think people are clearer. They see this individual for who he really is. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if we don't get it together, he's not leaving.
Yeah. No, that's real talk.
He has no intention on leaving that place. He putting all that tacky
the gold, the fake gold,
cubic zirconia
right
on the walls.
Or it's not cubic zirconia and a whole bunch of Congolese blood on the
Laura
walls.
Ingram asked him, did you get that from Home Depot? No, I didn't get it from Home Depot. Somebody went and pulled the stuff, took pictures of it, and you can go to Home Depot.
Oh, no, what? Are you serious?
Yeah, that's real.
In your house, put it in your house tonight.
Yeah. So look, I started off the episode saying redistricting is not sexy. And we have somehow turned it sexy with Stephen A. Smith, drug use, just not everything you experience makes you an expert. And I know I'm leaving something out. But anyway, but we got to wrap this up, y'all. So
call me Stephen A. We need to talk, brother.
He said call you Stephen.
We need to talk.
We got to put some disclosures on this episode.
My lane is
legal department disclosures
I'm
on
supposed
this.
to minister to people. That's supposed to be my lane, so I'm trying.
You trying to minister to Stephen A?
I'll talk to anybody. Like,
I got y'all too. I got you. In this episode, we will discuss graphic nature that may be sensitive to some. Some people may feel a little moved by us talking about the topics This is your trigger warning. Viewer discretion advised. Education is elevation. Come in with a very understanding that your comfort zone might be disrupted.
And any similarity to real life people is simply coincidental, or whatever that disclaimer is, right? But y'all, I hope y'all have enjoyed.
And all the allegations are allegations.
That's
allegedly.
Right. That's
we don't want
allegedly.
to be sued by anybody.
That's right. And so we hope that y'all have enjoyed. I'm not bringing these two together on another episode again, because I don't know what the
Fire and gasoline. I love fire and gasoline.
Hey, some of our brothers and sisters that's dealing with drug addiction, they can vote.
That's right.
They can vote.
That's
we gotta
real
go
talk.
get them. They can vote.
And we
they have more
keep
access to
fighting.
healthcare. They wouldn't be dealing with that. They
That's
can
right.
vote. We gotta get them to go to the polls too.
Hey, let me say this last word. Let me get this last word in, Mark, because I know you want to get the last word. Let me say this just to come back real quick to what Mark said about what is it, celebrity activism. My only pushback on that is, look, we do have a history of celebrity activism, right? We got Harry Belafonte, right? We got the folks that were in the movement. Dick Gregory that was in Birmingham.
No. It's different. They were already celebrities who gave their lives to the movement. I'm talking about people who are trying to become celebrities.
No, I got you. That's where I was going.
Pseudo activists.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I think the sequence is important too.
That's right. No, I'm with you, and that's exactly the point that I was gonna get to, right? That you have people, exactly what you just said, that are trying to become celebrities off of thinking that they're an expert, in this activism, versus people that were grounded, and even today we've got people. Kerry Washington, some of our friends that we do some stuff with that in the media, Joy Reid,
they real celebrities.
Right. And they are grounded in these experiences and in this work. And so it's possible, but the route that some of these folks are taking to get there, right, which, as you said, Mark, some of it is about being paid, it's individualistic, it's separated from community. So I think we've got to be able to distinguish that. And when folks ain't doing it the right way, to do exactly what we've done here today, allegedly, which is to call it out, right? And so I just wanted to end on that point. But we hope that y'all have enjoyed this episode of Unnamed and Unbound as much as we have. We hope that you've taken some
I'm
info.
sorry if I carried on too much. I apologize.
No, you all right, man. You all right. Next time we got to get you in studio, though. We got to bring you down.
And shout out to all my neurodivergent blacks out there. We out here.
That's right. Oh, that's right. There's room in this movement for everybody. Everybody's got a role to play in this movement, right? Including you watching this right now. And so if you enjoyed this, we want you to like it, share it, send it out. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend, screaming out the window. Do whatever you got to let folk know that they need to be checking out the Black Voters Matter podcast, Unnamed and Unbound. I want to thank my two brothers here, Conscious Lee, y'all give it up for him. My brother Mark Thompson, you give it up for him. And give it up for yourselves, y'all, because we wouldn't be in here, we wouldn't be in this work. None of this would be possible without all of you and all y'all support. We'll catch you on the next episode, y'all.